Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'il mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, in the previous video we have explained the understanding that if we are going to develop an Islamic psychology and this framework for positive Islamic cognitive behavior therapy, the first principle of this whole idea is based on our book, Positive Islamic Psychology, a Transcendent Model to Achieve Peace, Happiness and Success. And we have outlined the 4 principles in this book. This is very detailed, explaining how we can understand from the perspective of traditional proof of the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the scientific proof including quantum physics, information theory, and many other areas, fine-tuning of this universe, fine-tuning of DNA and so on. So all this is based on a very deep understanding of that we have to acknowledge that we are dependent on the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we have hope. And because of that, then we will next level, we have to then understand why we are created, how are we created, why did we exist on this earth, where we are going to after passing on this life in terms of the physical realm. So then we have to go to the next level. So the second principle of PIP, Positive Islamic Cognitive Behavior Therapy, in the new book that we are coming up with, inshallah, this is the series of books on positive Islamic psychology. This is the first book, this handbook, Positive Islamic Psychology, a Transcendent Model to Achieve Peace, Happiness and Success. We are inviting you to become our life coaches in the 4 areas in which I will explain to you later. So then you can learn, and we are also developing a handbook for positive Islamic cognitive behavior therapy, because in the Muslim world, we do not have a proper outline of a therapeutic approach to the psychosocial and psychospiritual problems that the Ummah is facing. So we are trying to develop this as our contribution to the development of the Ummah in terms of our growth and to move forward as an Ummah of Iman, as an Ummah of knowledge, as an Ummah that can resolve our own internal issues and also help resolve the issues of humanity at large. So the second understanding is that we have to understand the holistic transcendent nature of the human self. So we human beings are just not mere physical entities, and we know even the physical entities from the perspective of quantum physics and quantum mechanics. If we move backward from atom to subatomic particle, whether it is the proton, neutron, the quarks, lepton and so on, we are actually moving towards the Planck and so on. We are moving towards energy in terms of waves. So even the physical matter manifested into our being, if we move backward, according to the latest sciences, we are created from a source of energy which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, because we know this is a manifestation in which He manifested, and when He says kun fayakun, it became. So when He manifested that, what was our existence? Actually, we existed before the universe existed, because we existed in the realm of the spiritual beyond space and time. So if we understand this, we must understand the holistic transcendent nature of the human self. And how are we going to understand it? I have described this diagram many times, but just to give you an idea again, in the transcendent realm of Azali, before space and time, before the existence of the universe, we have existed. This is what Allah has ordained upon. Alright, so we existed in the realm where we are imbued with the realms, 3 realms, that is the qalb, the ruh, and the akal. They are changeable. You can have the ruh here, the qalb and the akal, or you can have the qalb here, which I mentioned here because the qalb is the loci of control, loci of focus, which Allah has ordained that it will be the focus. And this is where our great scholars like Imam Ghazali and all the rest have explained in many of their understanding, because they receive this knowledge, intuitive knowledge. This is not some knowledge that we read from books and so on. These are experiential, intuitive knowledge where they have the taste of the truth. Alright, so this is the nature of our existence in the realm before we existed in the world. So we have 3 aspects or 3 domains, we can call it, but they're actually one. but they have different functionality, which is very important for cognitive behavior, positive Islamic cognitive behavior therapy, in terms of developing a therapeutic approach of how we're going to satisfy our qalb, how are we going to satisfy our akal, how are we going to satisfy our roh. And then when we reach this physical world, we are imbued with the jasad. And our nafs consists of the qalb, the roh, the akal, and the jasad. So this is the spiritual realm, this is the physical realm. This is fully spiritual. So the psycho-spiritual basis for Islamic psychology and PICBT would be then how we can to enhance in terms of achieving the best in terms of our existence on this earth. Naturally, we want to have our best in terms of our spirituality. So the best in terms of our qalb, our heart, the best in terms of our roh, our spirit, the best in terms of our akal, and the best in terms of our jasad. So we have this SEMP, optimization and coherence. We are trying to make it work together in such a way, and when we do that, then we get all the gifts of iman, the gift of peace, the gift of happiness, the gift of meaning in life, the gift of love, the gift of mercy, the gift of so much of these gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained upon to be given to us. It's freebies. It is ordained by Allah to be given to us. So we appreciate that gift that Allah has given to us and then accept it with gratitude. Okay, so I'm just going to read some aspect from the book. Okay, chapter 2 on the holistic transcendent nature of our human self, because this chapter alone, there are many pages. All right. So there's more than 40 pages in the chapter in this book here, but I'm just going to read you a few paragraphs to give you the taste, because I want you to buy either online this book or buy the hard copy and then study to become our life coach, or just have this understanding of your purpose and meaning in life as a human being, as a Muslim, as an ummah, that is important for your development in this world and the hereafter, for your family, friends, and everybody that we come in contact with. Okay? So, the understanding of the human self, based on the transcendent principle that God is the creator of the universe, we also know that the true nature of human self. The atheistic belief that human beings are merely physical things being made up of organs, molecules, elements, atoms, subatomic particles, etc. are not true. From the perspective of quantum mechanics, subatomic particles are made of waves of energy that have no physical entity, which can exist within and without space and time, i.e. the non-locality quantum event. At this point, we're talking about entities that are beginning to transcend the physical nature. Beyond the quantum nature, we have the nature of the transcendent as the final layer of existence before space and time. The true nature of the human self is beyond physical nature and beyond the physical world. Modern science is now getting closer to the understanding of the true nature of the human self as revealed in the traditional understandings of the human self that is both transcendent and physical. We are spiritual beings first, before we existed in the physical realm. We have existed beyond space and time, and our transcendent nature will exist beyond space and time, i.e. internally. That means even we die this physical death, we are not dead, because beyond the realm of the physical world, there is a timeless space that Allah has ordained that we will exist forever and ever. It is eternal. So once created, we'll live forever. It is necessary to discuss the nature of the human self from the perspective of the scientific and Islamic perspective. This is because we need sound scientific knowledge to understand the reality of our existence as a composite being. This is a composite being, because as I said, this is the nature. So once we understand the nature, then we can understand this ilmun nafs, the nature, because psychology is the understanding the nature of our existence. Without understanding it, then we are only having half the truth. From an Islamic perspective, there are some aspects that constitute the holistic nature of the human self. All prophets, from Adam to Abraham to Jesus to Moses, all the way to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and the great saintly teachers such as Buddha, Lao Tzu, Yogi saints, and others, all share the same view that the human self is not purely physical, but they have inner dimensions, i.e. the transcendent spiritual dimension of the self. From the Islamic perspective, human being consists of at least of 5 domains, aspects as he lives on this earth. This is where the qalb, the roh, the akal, the jasad, and the nafs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the combination of the 4 realms. Only God knows how many aspects or domain we have. They are called aspects because ultimately the root cause of everything that exists in this world are creation or manifestation from God or from Allah. The 5 aspects as mentioned in the Quran are the Ruh, the spiritual aspect, the Qalb, the heart aspect, the Akal, the intellectual mind aspect, the Jasad, the physical aspect, and the Nafs, the totality of the human self or the human psyche. We have all these 5 aspects as we live on this earth, and how then do we relate to these aspects, and what are the nature of these aspects? So this is where we go into detail of explaining all these things. All right. So there's another paragraph here. If we look at the understanding of this physical world, right? Okay, it is made out of energy. And Allah ordained this energy, created this energy. Energy is indestructible, and it came from a source which have existed before anything physical was created. Because we know before this physical world was created, Allah command kun, it was a source of energy. Condensed source of energy that is beyond any imagination, all right? And that is a created source. We know that energy was created because at the point of creation of the universe, the energy was manifested into physical matter, i.e. galaxies, stars, planets, etc. God tells us that He existed before anything existed. Thus, this universe began its existence at a point 13.7 billion years ago. This universe came from a singularity. At that point of singularity, the universe exploded through the Big Bang expansion, followed by the formation of the subatomic particles, the electron, neutron, protons, hydrogen, helium, star, supernova, and so on. This whole process then generates other elements, and at a certain point, there is Allah created biological life, and then from then on, there is man. All this process happened not out of chance. In the Quran, Allah Almighty tells us that this process begins with His command, kun fayakun, which means be and be it. So, from then on, this journey of our existence, and the journey of our understanding our physical realm, and the journey of understanding that we are a spiritual being, living in a physical world temporarily, returning back to the spiritual realm, and it is an honor out of the grace, the mercy and love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we can appreciate that, then we can appreciate our life. We have meaning in our life, and inshallah we will lessen our problems or the need of to have psychological therapy, whatever it is. But inshallah, as we go along, as I say, within the Ummah we have a lot of problems. So this framework we are developing is Positive Islamic Cognitive Behavior Therapy Handbook, which will publish inshallah in the near future. Thank you.